right, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, Middle Georgia. Hope you guys are doing well this Monday afternoon. I've been doing pretty well myself, just kind of, getting everything situated here, ready for tomorrow's event. And that's what we're here to do tonight, is to give you guys an update as to what we talked about yesterday and how things have changed. So let me just get a couple things situated real quick, and then we will get on going. And then I'm sure you guys have noticed I am actually not Ryan tonight. So I am our new meteorologist, Noah Hauck. So you'll be looking forward to me doing some more live streams in the future with some upcoming winter weather and severe weather when the time comes. So don't be alarmed if you don't see Ryan. I'll try to live up to his name as best as I can. But of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And at some point, I'll be able to head on over there and be able to check them out for you as well. But yeah, alrighty. Get this show on the road. All right, so here in Middle Georgia, we'll talk about current temperatures to start things off. Now we are here in Macon, we're at 30 degrees. Other places like Monticello are sitting at 27. Thomaston is also 27. Forsyth is also 27. And Mount Vernon is a little bit of an oddball, as it usually is. It's over at 34. And McRae is actually down to 27. So mostly across Middle Georgia tonight is around the upper 20s to low 30s. But as we progress throughout the rest of the night, things are going to drop down into the low 20s and possibly even the teens for some of us across the state. So, as we've been talking about the last couple of days, there is a weather warn day for today, tomorrow, and all the way through Thursday. Now, the weather warn day for tomorrow is going to be for that winter weather system, but we are going to have dangerously cold weather the rest of the week, even on Wednesday and Thursday, so that's why we're throwing out a weather warn day on those days as well. So we do have that winter storm threat coming in tomorrow. It's going to come in around the afternoon hours and last for the remainder of Tuesday, maybe a little bit into Wednesday morning, but not so much there. And we will have some snowfall as well. It's just going to depend on what kind of moisture we get and all that. And we can expect high impacts from the system, which is a difference from a couple weeks, ago, that system for us as well. So let's just do a quick little recap as to what is going to be happening here in Middle Georgia tomorrow. So snow is going to be starting in Tuesday afternoon, right around 2 p.m.-ish, and dry layer near the surface. And totals are going to range anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, could be more, could be less. It's still just under 24 hours from the event, and so things are still going to change. But this is a pretty good idea of what we can expect across Middle Georgia. And like I was saying before, this system is going to be out of here by early Wednesday morning, but that snow probably will stick around just for a little bit longer, just until those temperatures do get above freezing for us. Now, taking a look at our radar real quick, we can actually see that that system is starting right around the San Antonio area and will be making its way across the southern U.S. into Middle Georgia. For now, though, we can see that we're actually pretty dry out here and really, really clear. It is going to be bitterly cold tonight, but like I was saying, that system over in Texas is going to be making its way over to Middle Georgia as we head into tomorrow afternoon. It's just getting its footing down over in Texas. Now, taking model comparisons, last week I was bringing up that our American model, our GFS, and the European model were not really so much in agreement, but now that we're less than 24 hours out, you can see behind me that they're basically both in total agreement, which is a good thing. That means that we have a pretty good idea that tomorrow there is going to be snow, and that Valdosta, Albany, places like that, and our southern counties could see some higher amounts as well, closer to that 3-inch range. But regardless, all of us will be seeing some sort of snow tomorrow. And so as we kind of break it down into an hour-by-hour forecast, you can see currently at 9 p.m. we still have that northerly flow that's helping to bring that colder air into our area and keeping things still relatively dry. But as we move on, let's see right here, you can see that actually we do have the clouds moving in here early Tuesday morning. Now, that is still going to be bringing in that cold weather with the clouds, but as we head into of this snow. And like I was saying, most of Middle Georgia is actually going to, might not see it just yet, but as we head later on into the afternoon hours, right around 4 p.m., most of us will be experiencing snow. And like I was saying beforehand, it is going to take a couple of hours for us to see anything accumulate on the ground, just because we do have a dry layer near the surface that is going to take some time to saturate, which will mean that you'll still see the snow fall. It just won't stick right away. So just give it a couple hours. Right around the 5 to 6 p.m. mark is when we probably expect things to start to stick for us here in Middle Georgia. So again, we see here at 5 p.m., most of us here in Middle Georgia are going to be probably going to be starting to wane off for us here. So again, that's another reason as to why the totals aren't as high as we initially had predicted. Again, we're sitting right around the range for most of us here. Well, we can see by 11 p.m., places like McRae and Vidalia will be the last to really experience any of this system moving out here Tuesday evening. And then as we head into Wednesday in the early morning hours, those clouds are also going to be heading out of here, leading back to those clear skies with, again, northerly flow to help bring in those really cold temperatures that we're going to be experiencing after this event has moved through. And we'll get into that in just a little bit as well. Now, like I was mentioning, here are those predicted snow. Little technical difficulty there, but here we go. This is the latest model outlook that we have right now. Earlier in the day, we were actually showing there was going to be a little bit more snow in the south around the 4 to 5 inch area. And like we said, things are changing throughout the day and will change tomorrow morning as well. But this Monticello, Eatonton, Sparta, all experiencing right around an inch of snow. Here in Macon, we're getting roughly an inch and a half. And as we go more south, we'll see that places like Cochrane, Hawkinsville are 3.5 just about. And again, just to reiterate, these are suspected values, the averages, what we've seen over the last couple of days. So things are subject to change and will most likely change. Just in what direction is still just a little bit hard to tell, because since this low system is in the Gulf, it could really change things up, but this is the most likely scenario. Now, as far as winter weather alerts go, we have now been placed under a winter storm warning, and that is for the majority of us here in Middle Georgia. We do have a couple places up near Monticello and the surrounding counties that are going to be under a winter weather advisory. Now, you may be asking, what's the difference? Well, an advisory is something that you need to be cautious of. So we do expect winter precipitation to occur anywhere from snow up to 2 inches, sleet up to 1/2 inch, and freezing rain up to 1/4 inch. And there will be some impacts. It's just not nearly going to be as severe as a winter storm warning, which is what most of us here at Middle Georgia are under currently. Now, a warning means snow of 2 inches or more in some areas, sleet up to 1/2 inch or more, or freezing rain of 1/4 inch or more. Now, with this system, it's going to be primarily snow. There's no concern of sleet of 1/2 inch or freezing rain of 1/4 inch like the last system we had, where it was that mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Don't have to worry about that this time. It's going to be that big puffy white snowflake that is going to be good for making snowballs if you're able to get out and enjoy some time. Because I know some of those counties are going to be out of school tomorrow. Again, that's not something that we make up. That's something that the superintendents of the counties do make up. So we've heard that some of those counties are going to be closed. So of course, and again, moderate impacts as well down in places like Cochrane, Eastman, Cordele, and even Americus as well. So we can see that this is a lot more of an impact than that last system was. So if you happen to be traveling to work Tuesday, or traveling home from work, on Tuesday evening, or even begin to melt and then refreeze because of that cold air coming in behind it. So there could be impacts on the highways. There could be potential power issues, just depending on where you happen to live. So again, there are going to be significant impacts from the system. So just be prepared. As well as if you have pets, make sure to bring them inside. If you have plants, make sure they're inside. And just make sure you have plenty of food and water and everything like that, and even keep your taps open as well so they don't freeze over and those pipes don't freeze as well. Now, as far as a trend for our morning lower temperatures, as we kind of move on past this system, like I was mentioning, the cold is going to be a real danger, and that's going to be setting in on Wednesday afternoon. So we can see here that our morning low temperatures, as we move on from the system, Tuesday, it's going to be 20 degrees. Wednesday, once that system is out of here, we're down into 18-degree territory. And then even on Thursday, we're going to drop again down to 16 degrees. And then we'll go back up to slightly warmer things to a low of 22 degrees, and Saturday with a low of 23 degrees. Regardless, for the next 5 days, things are going to be cold here in Middle Georgia. So please, please, please be aware that this is serious. You need to be making sure that you're bundled up. Again, if you've got kids that might be going to school on Thursday or Friday once the snow lets up, if they're waiting at the bus stop in the morning, make sure they've got coats on, make sure they've got gloves, hats, scarves, something of that nature just to make sure that they are protected from this harsh cold. Now, as far as high temperatures go, let's take a look real quick. It's more or less the same. Tuesday, we're going to have a high of 38 degrees. Wednesday, a high of 42. Wednesday, a high of 40, and then Thursday, a high of 42 degrees. And Friday is when we start to finally warm things up just a tad, where we get to a high of 47 degrees. And then Saturday into Sunday, we'll be getting back into the 50s and the 60s as well. So it's really up until Friday is when that cold spell is going to be lasting, and then we'll be getting up to more of average temperatures for this time of year. So because of that cold weather that's going to be lasting, so do expect wind chills to bring temperatures down. Happen to need to leave to go out or to travel or to do anything of that sort tonight, please, please, please be bundled up and be prepared, because it will be cold and it's not safe to be out there for long periods of time. Again, because of that wind chill, it's going to be making it feel like it's in the teens and possibly even the single digits. Now, things that are a little bit more local to here for us in Macon. Tonight's forecast is going to be, just one second, mostly clear skies, which is going to allow for those wind chills to bring us down into the teens and even the single digits. Now, tomorrow's forecast is going to be a high of 38 degrees with that afternoon snow, and we actually get to use our snow graphic for once, which we weren't able to use last time, but we get to use this time because we actually are getting some snow, which is exciting. And then taking a little bit of a look at our 10-day forecast. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are going to be our weather warn days, and those highs are right around the high 30s to low 40s, with those dangerously cold lows in the teens at 18, 16, and 22. And then, like I was mentioning before, as we head off into the weekend, things are going to warm up. You can see on Saturday, a high of 52. Sunday and Monday, we're actually going to be hitting the 60s again. Our lows are still going to be in the 20s, slowly rising up into the 30s. But as far as those highs go, we're going to be heading back into the 60s, which is good news for us here, again, because this cold we're not typically used to, and we've been below average for the last few weeks, but finally heading back to things a little bit on the more average side. I'm going to take a quick look at the Facebook just to see if there are any comments that I can answer, and then we can run through it one more time just in case any of you have happened to join in the middle of this and would like a recap on what I talked about earlier. Gotcha. But yeah, so pretty much it looks like we are going to be expecting snow tomorrow, which is different from that last snow we did have just because we were on the line of things there. But this time around, we're going to be in the range of the snow this time, so we will be able to experience things. And again, there is going to be a QR code somewhere tomorrow where you can submit those photos if you'd like to, if you had any fun in the snow. But looks like we've got all the questions answered for now, so I'm just going to run it back one more time just in case anybody has happened to join in the meantime, just so we can give a little bit of a recap. All right. Bringing us back to the top, we'll get right into those current temperatures again. So we can see that places up in Monticello, Eatonton, and Thomaston are all going to be right around the 27-degree mark, but places like Mount Vernon are going to be right around 34 degrees. So for all of us here in Middle Georgia, we're going to be right around the upper 20s to lower 30s of things for current temperatures. Now, as far as weather warn days go, we have put out a weather warn day for today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And that is because we do have our impending winter storm tomorrow coming through. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be dangerously, dangerously cold. So we're actually under a cold weather advisory for that as well. So like I was mentioning, Tuesday we do have that winter storm threat rolling on through. That's going to be lasting Tuesday afternoon up until Wednesday in the early morning hours. And we do expect snowfall to accumulate. It is going to take just a couple of hours once it starts to fall to actually stick, but we still do expect some to accumulate, and high impacts are expected with this system. And we'll get into that in just a second. Now, just to wrap things up a little bit with our winter system tomorrow, that snow will be starting around Tuesday afternoon at around 2 p.m. and it is going to take just a couple of hours to start getting any types of accumulation, just because we do have a dry layer near the surface, which that snow will have to saturate in order to be able to stick to the ground. So our totals are going to range anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. It could be less, it could be more. It just really depends on how tomorrow plays out. And what kind of moisture is available for the atmosphere to use. And it's always changing. These totals are going to change by tomorrow. They've changed within the last 6 hours, and they will change by tomorrow morning as well. But the 1 to 3 range is a very realistic range for most of us here in Middle Georgia. As the system moves on through Tuesday, it will be making its stay relatively short as it will move out. Now, taking a look at our current radar, we can see that that system is actually setting up base to be making its way slowly across the southern United States over to us here in Middle Georgia. Currently, things are clear, they're dry, but it is very, very cold. So that is also something to be aware of as we head into this winter event tomorrow. Now, taking a quick look at these model comparisons, we can see that we have our American model, the GFS, right here, and our European model well. Now, typically, the European model tends to do a little bit better here in Middle Georgia, and last week, these were not in agreement whatsoever. But thankfully today, they are almost identical in terms of agreement, which is a good thing. That means that we're a lot more confident in that forecast. So that is very good in terms of how models go, especially again, since the European tends to do a little bit better. I'm glad to see that the GFS is finally caught up and is in agreement finally with the European. Now, taking a quick look at our hour-by-hour forecast, we can see that currently, right around 9 p.m., we still have a northerly flow that's bringing that colder weather down into Middle Georgia and keeping things relatively dry and clear for tonight. And then as we head into the early morning hours of Tuesday, we can actually start to see the formation of some clouds across Middle Georgia. And then as we head throughout the rest of the day on Tuesday, right around 2 to 3 p.m. is when that snow is first going to hit us here in Middle Georgia. And again, places like Vidalia, McRae are not going to experience it just yet. But as we make our way through the remainder of that afternoon, right around the 4 to 5 p.m. mark is once the rest of Middle Georgia is going to start to experience all of that snow. And like I was saying before, a bit until we can actually start to get accumulations on the ground. So even though it will start snowing around 2 to 3 p.m. for most of us, we won't actually start to see anything stick until about 5 to 6 p.m. when the majority of that system is directly overhead. Now, like I was mentioning before as well, this system is going to be fairly quick because even by 7 p.m., places over like Thomaston and Monticello are starting to lighten up on that snow. And then as we head throughout the rest of Tuesday evening, even by 11 p.m., only places like McRae and Vidalia are still going to be experiencing that snow. And then as we head into Wednesday morning at 12 a.m. and even into 1 a.m., we're actually going to be seeing clearing by that point. So the system will be long gone and we'll be having some clearing skies, but even though that system will be out of here, the danger isn't over yet. So first, though, we'll talk about the snow totals, and these were updated just a few hours ago. They actually were a little bit higher, but they have since come down just a little bit, which is why we have our range from 1 to 3 inches. We can see places like Monticello, Eatonton, Sparta are hovering right around that 1 inch mark. Here in Macon, we're at 1.5 inches. Warner Robins is at 1.6, but other places like Cordele and Abbeville are right around the 3.5. And again, these are certain to change by tomorrow morning, but we do have a pretty good sense that these are pretty much the numbers that are going to stay, but they very well could change. They could be more, they could be less, but regardless of where they do change, we are still going to be experiencing less snow in the northern part of Middle Georgia, and the majority of that snow, or the heavier snow, I should say, is going to be in the southern region of Middle Georgia. But again, we're still predicting anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. Now, as far as alerts go, we have been placed under a winter storm warning as of this afternoon, and then other places like Monticello and Sparta are under a winter storm advisory, and that advisory actually extends all the way up into Metro Atlanta. So just something to be aware of in case you happen to be traveling to Atlanta or happen to work there. Just something to keep in mind as you commute home from work tomorrow or possibly commute into work on Wednesday morning. Now, you may be asking, what's the difference? What's the difference between an advisory and what's the difference between a warning? Now, our advisory is something to be cautious of. We know there is going to be winter weather. It's just we don't exactly know how much of it there's going to be and what those impacts are going to be. So we could experience snow up to 2 inches, sleet up to up to 1/2 inch, or freezing rain up to 1/4 of an inch. So it's just something to be cautious of and know that it is going to be a possibility. Now, as far as a warning goes, this is something that you need to take action for and be prepared, and it is going to be happening in our area. So we're going to be experiencing snow of 2 inches or more, sleet of 1/2 inch or more, or freezing rain of 1/4 inch or more. And for this specific system, it's going to be purely snow. Unlike our last system that was a wintry mix that included snow, sleet, and freezing rain, we're only going to have to worry about snow this time around, which is good to hear from this system. So that is, again, something you need to be prepared for and expect there to be impacts on those roads. Now, here is that impact map right here, and it looks like it actually just got updated just a little bit. So we can see that the majority of us here, or actually all of us here in Middle Georgia, are under a minor impact level. There were a couple places down near Montezuma, Cordele, Americus that were on the moderate side of impacts, but it looks like it has lessened just a little bit. Regardless, even though we're in the minor side of things, that it still means that you should take caution and be prepared. There could be slick spots on the road because once the snow does melt, we will still have below freezing temperatures as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday night. So they could refreeze over, cause slick spots. There could be increased accidents. So just something to be prepared for and be cautious of. And if you happen to have any pets in the house that typically stay outside, make sure to bring them in. If you have any plants, make sure to bring those in as well. Your pipes, make sure that you're also dripping your faucets just so they don't freeze over depending on what kind of infrastructure you have. So as far as our low temperature trends are going, this was the other big thing I wanted to talk about tonight, because even though we do have a winter system moving in tomorrow, which is exciting for us here in Middle Georgia, the cold temperatures are really going to be what is going to remain and be of big concern for us. So we can see that on Tuesday, our low is going to be 20 degrees. As we head into Wednesday, it's going to drop to 18 degrees. And as we head into Thursday, it's going to drop to 16 degrees, which is going to be very, very cold. And even though it does increase just a little bit on Friday to 22 degrees and Saturday at 23, regardless this week of what happens, it's going to be cold. And so if you have kids going on the bus on Thursday and Friday when school opens back up, make sure they're bundled up, make sure they've got scarves, gloves, hats, something to keep them safe, because this, if you're out there long enough, it can cause harm potentially. So it's very, very important that you take this seriously and that you use caution when going out. Even if you're commuting to work, be sure to make sure your car has heat and everything like that if possible. So just be aware and be safe out there, because this cold is dangerous. As far as our high temperatures go, though, things are going to be slowly increasing as the week goes on. Again, we're starting at a high of 38 on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be at 40 degrees. Thursday, 42. Friday, a little bit higher of a jump at a high of 47. But then once we head into Saturday and Sunday, things are really going to start to warm back up to more of those average temperatures that we typically experiencing once the system is through. We are under a cold weather advisory for the next couple of days because we have wind chills that could take things anywhere into the teens and even into the single digits as well. So this is very, very serious for us here in Middle Georgia. And just make sure, again, that you have blankets, you have scarves, everything like that to make sure you stay warm and stay safe and stay prepared for this cold, because it's not something we experience very often down here. Now, things that are a little bit more local here in Macon, tonight's temperatures are going to be 20 degrees as the low. Again, fairly clear skies with the clouds moving in overnight, and wind chills can bring us down even to 8 degrees, but anywhere from 8 to 15 degrees. So again, very, very cold out there. So I'm excited because we got to use this graphic with the snow in the background for the first time, just because that last system was kind of on the border, but this time we know for sure there's going to be snow, so we've got that snow right in the background there for us. Taking a quick look at our 10-day forecast. Again, you can see those weather-worn days lasting on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and those cold temperatures down in the teens at 18 degrees, 16 degrees, and 22 degrees. And then as we head throughout the rest of the week, like I was mentioning on Saturday and Sunday, that's when that warm-up is going to take place. So we'll go back to 52 60s by next weekend. So again, we hopefully won't be experiencing any more of this cold in the future. It looks like in the future we're finally experiencing more of those warmer temperatures for this time of year, or average, I should say. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. I'll just check the Facebook one more time just in case there are a couple more comments in the meantime. But again, we have winter weather coming in tomorrow, so be prepared, be on the lookout for that as well. And feel free to go to WGXA.tv for more detailed information as well. And then heading into Wednesday, again, be safe because things might melt, but they will refreeze if that is the case, because we are going to be below freezing going into Thursday morning, excuse me. So just checking the comments real quick. All right, seems like somebody is curious about the daytime temperatures tomorrow, so let me get that pulled up for you real quick and we can go over that as well. But again, as we start to wind things down tonight, I hope everyone's staying warm out there, staying safe, eating a good warm meal at home. That's what I'm gonna do when I get out of here tonight, is go home and eat a nice warm meal, maybe even some soup, you know, keep things warm, especially in these cold temperatures. So hope you guys are doing all well out there. All right, so let me see your name real quick. All right, for Karen Weaver out there asking us about our daytime temperatures, here's a quick look as to what to expect for hours. Again, we're gonna be pretty bitterly cold here, staying in the low to mid 20s. And as we progress throughout the day, most of us here will be in the lower to mid 30s, even places like Mount Vernon and McRae sitting right below 40 degrees. And then as we slowly move throughout our day around 2 p.m., slowly still warming up just a little bit. You know, Monticello's at 36, Eatonton is at 36. But then as we go a little bit more, we move throughout the day, things are going to start to drop once that snow is starting to hit, because like we were mentioning before, 4 p.m. is when most of that snow is going to be hitting us here in Middle Georgia, so temperatures are going to begin to drop. So once we head into roughly dinner time, we can see that we're getting back down into the low 30s, so places like Monticello, 32, Forsyth, 31, and then Mount Vernon is at 35. So slowly going down in our temperatures as we move on. And then as we head towards, 9 p.m., well, most of us will be in the upper 20s. So again, starting out the day in the lower 20s, in the mid-afternoon around 2 p.m., we'll be getting up to the mid to high 30s, some places even into the low 40s. And then as we head back down into dinner time and even off into 8/9 p.m., we're gonna be getting back down into. All right, just checking the Facebook one more time. All right, that looks like it's going to be it for me. And of course, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I'll do my best to go back, review them, and give you an answer if I can. But other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday night. We do have a broadcast at 11 in case anything